Welcome to the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast.
Hello everyone, this is Jarvis S. Scott with What's Happening Birmingham. Today I have the honor and pleasure with State Representative, Attorney, and member of Alpha Kappa Alpha.
The one, the first, the finest Alpha Kappa Alpha
Yes.
Sorority Incorporated. You have to put the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority in it.
Yes.
Alpha. Yes.
Yes.
In May, I will have 35 years as a member.
Oh, congratulations.
Miles College Gamma Pi chapter. Absolutely.
Yes.
True to it.
And finally, candidate for mayor of Birmingham.
Whoop, whoop.
Juandalynn, how you doing today?
Jarvis, I am doing so fine. I'm doing so great. Listen, Peacock, proud, hallelujah, happy to be here. I'm excited about this journey. Most importantly, I'm excited to be sitting here with the Jarvis S. Scott. What's happening, Birmingham? I know Mike J gonna be mad right now, but Mike,
now you what's happening in Birmingham because you came out and seen you had thousands of views on your rollout.
We're getting a lot of buzz.
Great sit down interview with Carlos. Shouts out to Carlos Shavers. You had a great interview with him. So then I reached out to you, and one thing I would say about you, you are not afraid to come to the people and talk about why you're running.
First of all, I'm an open book.
Okay.
Listen, I am an attorney, and I believe in the First Amendment. Listen, free speech.
Yes, okay.
I have nothing to hide. I am who I am. This is it. So, and this is a very important position that I'm running for. Okay. And so I realize there will be many that will know me, but there will also be those that will not know me.
Okay.
As I mentioned, even on Carlos's live the other day, listen, Paul Hubbard, when I first ran, said to me with the Alabama Education Association, for which I am a network attorney, he said, listen, brace for impact, because I'm about to say something.
Okay.
You think everybody knows you. Well, they don't. And at that time, I think President Obama was either running for president. He said, listen, President Obama can even walk in some places. Nobody's going to know him because it depends on who's into him. But we're here today just as another effort to start this process. So I'm excited. I'm so girl crushing on you right now, whatever it is, because I'm like, I just love Jarvis, and I love What's Happening Birmingham, and I love what you all do to try to inform the people. I know Mike J. Mike, you know you my guy, but yeah.
Well, shout out to Mike too, and Russ and Chandra, Han, Birmingham, Birmingham. Thanks. We all try to do what we do around here to keep people informed. Well, I wanted to sit down with you today to have a conversation.
Let's do it.
At the time of this taping, that when, the year of our Lord 2025, we have an election coming up. I would say a very important election.
Absolutely.
I would say, you agree with me, a life or death choice. Well, let me start with that because, I've seen articles people write about, is Birmingham dying? Is Birmingham in decline? And there's been writers, there's been, much chatter on social media or among the citizens that, this is just numbers. So people get upset with numbers, but there's two numbers that's stated out there we used to be the first in population in the state. That's a fact you agree with.
Correct. That's an absolute fact.
That's a fact. Now, the second fact is last year we've had 151 homicides. Is that a fact?
That's a fact.
That was one of the most deadly years since 33 or 39?
And Jarvis, if you would allow me to expound on that, not only were we the number one city.
Okay.
We were the number one city in population.
Okay.
And industry, we're no longer that.
Okay.
That's number one. Huntsville is now number one. Then Mobile, Montgomery, and then Birmingham.
Okay.
And we are getting very close to possibly not being number four. And that's real critical because there's been such a shift over the course of the past few years. Also with the handling of the census tract, every 10 years.
Okay.
So you look at all of those things coupled with also where we are with crime. But I wanted to say something about what you said about the election. Listen, in 2025, because there are some individuals who say, well, I like such and such, or this person is my friend. Elections are not about friendship. Election is about leadership and who can administrate through a process Our Constitution says that we are to have these elections every 4 years. And just because a person is in that seat, they do not own that seat. Okay. It is not their seat. It is the people's seat. Okay. When you hear me talk about my the legislative district that I represent, you will very seldomly hear me say my. You will hear me say the district that I represent, because every 4 years that seat is up. And the people decide to release the seat. And I have no problem with democracy. Win or lose, I will abide by the wishes of the people. Okay. Where I am right now is that the Constitution says that I will, if I meet the minimum qualifications, that I am able to run for that seat. And I feel that I'm just as qualified as anyone else that is in the seat now. And I can, if you want me to share my level of experience, or I'll let you segue into that, because I'm no stranger to leadership around Birmingham.
Well, the reason why I say I think Birmingham faces a pivotal choice is because when you're the mayor, you are over departments. You are over, whether you or you over the police department. You direct the police. The decisions you make impact.
Well, absolutely, because I know the argument that the individuals are making, well, in some instances they say, you can't control someone's killing someone. Okay. And I want to be clear, and I want your listening audience to hear me as I'm speaking this. No, you cannot control someone putting a gun or killing someone. But when you take on these roles and these responsibility as being the CEO of a city that has over 100 plus nearly 200,000 people, you have to hire and engage those department heads, whether it be the chief, whether it be the public works, street and sanitation department, to make sure that the services that the people need are met. Okay. Therefore, with the police department, it is not the mayor's role to run the police department, nor to hire the assistant chiefs, deputy chiefs, and or captains and lieutenants. Because when you start doing that, the morale is going to drop down so low, and you're going to start seeing more and more officers leave. Birmingham once had, just 8 years ago, roughly close to about 14,000, give or take, sworn law enforcement officers. Well, now Birmingham only has 300 and something officers. And although there was a crime report that was given, there has been a lie that has been perpetrated for the last few months, for whatever reason, that Birmingham only needs 230 something officers. That's just not true. Birmingham only has 300 and something plus sworn officers, and nor is there a desire for those that should be submitting that information to the Alabama law enforcement agency, the correct numbers. But for some reason, there's an attempt to mask that number, but the people need to know it so they can protect themselves. Okay, so let's start with a quick bio for people who don't know you, like who you went to high school with, who your mom and dad. I am a public college. I graduated public high school, minor high school. Went to Miles College, Miles School of Law. While at Miles, I was a Miss Miles College. Very active in Student Government Association, political science major. I've always been involved in public administration and or political science. I am an appointee by Richard Erickson Jr., which was the first black mayor of the city. He actually brought me on as a part of the latter part of his administration to assist with various projects. For instance, the Eddie Kendrick Park downtown, that was my responsibility. The privatization of the zoo, that was my responsibility. We would not have a zoo had I not been that person to ensure that we carried that contract through, worked with the mayors of the various areas. The Hope 6 developments that you see downtown, I assisted in some part of writing the grants, as well as served for 10 years over the development that used to be Central City Park Place, as well as the one in Ensley that people knew as the Brickyard, but now Tuxedo Terrace. The list goes. Kenworth Trucking. I started working on what was called the Downtown Northwest, where we were going to develop this side of Birmingham. Very extensive experience as an attorney, 21 years. I am union lawyer. I represent the Alabama Education Association. So a lot of times when you all see me on TV, for instance, the band director situation that happened two years ago, I represented him. I am also one of the lawyers on the Hoover High School case where the coach thrust the student's private part. So I have a lot of experience. You may not just hear me out there in the streets all the time, but also 15 years in the Alabama House of Representatives, been legislator of the year several times, as well as the past president of the National Organization of Black Elected Legislative Women. I am an NAACP Woman of the Year, as well as the SCLC, Southern Christian Leadership National Woman of the Year a few years back for social justice.
Okay. So that being said, why are you running for mayor?
Well, I am running for the mayor of the city of Birmingham on the principles of peace, people, protection, and progress. I'm also running because I feel that I'm just as qualified, and especially with regards to the level of administration experience that I have, to come in day one, boots on the ground, to get this city back in a posture that we move every 99 neighborhoods in 23 communities. Okay. Listen, let me say this, Jarvis. I'm running because I want those individuals that live in areas outside of downtown, south side, and uptown to be treated fairly, to be treated with respect and honor, to have clean streets, to have resurfaced streets, to cover and close these potholes. I want our communities to be revitalized, to thrive, where we can shop in our own communities, where our children can play on basketball courts. Some of them have basketballs, but when you look at the courts are there, but there are no nets on the basketball goals. Listen, I am running because I believe that Birmingham can and will and should be better. But most importantly, let me tell you why I'm running. Okay. I'm running because for 8 years I have been begging. I have been pleading. I have been calling in the midnight hour regarding this issue of the number of murders and killings since 2017. There have been over 1,000 people within the city of Birmingham killed to senseless gun violence and or murdered. So I'm running because we cannot go on like this. Look at our neighborhoods. Our neighborhoods are filthy. They have become dump zones. We don't need dumpsters. We need more people working at the street and sanitation department, and we need to do whatever we can do to hire more people. Our public works and street and sanitation department only has about 500 and something employees, whereas when I worked at the street and sanitation, and let me just say this to go back to experience, I worked for street and sand. When I left Miles College, I worked on the back of a garbage truck. Okay. I worked on the back of a garbage truck, brush truck, and litter truck. Then I started driving garbage. And then I started on the litter truck. I had a crew. Okay. And then ultimately I ended up going in administration at the street and sanitation department, and from there to the mayor's office. So I know what it takes to clean this city. And I do know having only 500 employees, that is not enough at that department. This city, when I worked there, we had over 1,500 people. Well, why are they leaving? They're sick of it. They're tired of being underpaid. Those people have not had a significant increase. I'm not just talking about the regular COLA, but they have not had a significant increase in a number of years. And so as a result, the morale once again is low. So why am I running? I'm running because I feel that I have a plan. I have a platform to address and deal with all of these issues, but also to make the government within the city of Birmingham work better, from its services inside City Hall and around City Hall. Listen, we have staff that is in that building making nearly $250,000 a year. If there is someone that's making between $225,000 and $250,000 for the last 7.5, 8 years, that's almost $2 million, but we're cutting the monies we give to our neighborhood associations. Those people used to get $10,000. They now only get $2,000. But we're paying staff $250,000, $225,000 in that range. That's ridiculous.
So, okay, you said a lot. Let's go. I want to go back to, and I would tell people to go visit her website, givanformayor.com. She has a lot of, like I said before we started taping, I said you have got a lot of bullet points, but it's not like bullet points, it's explanations, I like to put. And I think the first thing
detail.
Very detailed. I want to talk about crime reduction and police reform. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go through the bullet points you got. You had community policing, police accountability, violence prevention programs, crisis intervention programs, de-escalation training, restorative justice, body camera, gun violence reduction, neighborhood safety plans, and then finally, recruitment and diversity. But I want to start off first with that, recruitment and diversity. What would you do as mayor to get more people to say, hey, I want to work, I want my first job as a police officer to be with the city of Birmingham?
Listen, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do whatever I can to get those officers that have retired or left the city of Birmingham within the last, at that time, maybe 1 to 5 years, that are experienced officers that would be willing to come and take a chance on my administration. There was a amount of monies put on the table in this last budget cycle.
Okay.
But by now, you should have certainly more officers that thought that to be lucrative enough to come back.
Okay.
Many of the officers, I represent a lot of officers. Our office does for different reasons. People employ lawyers for different reasons. So there are different times that I've had an opportunity to speak. But I do believe one of the reasons you're not seeing individuals coming back is that they refuse to work for this administration right now because of what caused the department to decline so bad. Listen, you cannot hire. It's not my role, if I were elected today, to run the police department. Mm-hmm. That's not my role, and I've never seen a mayor in the city of Birmingham run the police department. It is not a proper form of administration for the mayor of any city to hire the chief, not the chief, but the deputy chiefs that work under the chiefs, mm-hmm. or the assistant chiefs. Mm-hmm. Because when you do that, what happens is that people who work in those departments, who have been in that workforce for so long, it breaks them. It causes a decline in the morale.
Okay.
They feel overlooked. Okay. And as a result, it creates more friction. And then once they certainly get to 20 years, they're gone. They're not staying.
Yeah, I've heard that for years. Like a lot of them will. It's no secret. It's no secret. I know I got a lot of friends, buddies watching this that have told me over the years that they'll go work 20 at Birmingham and then leave. They get that pension and then they go to the county or somewhere else.
Anything I'm saying, listen, I have tough skin. Mm-hmm. You can fact check me on this. Okay. I used to work for the city. I represent individuals before the personnel board that are classified individuals. So I'm not making this stuff up. And also, it's just not a good administrative practice. And when it goes on for so long, and listen, I want to say this. I have no problem with the current administrator, personally.
Okay.
No, none. He did take aim at me a few months back. Listen, I have very thick skin, but at the end of the day, I have no problems because I want the people to know for 8 years, I've called in the midnight hour. 8 years, I've begged. 8 years, I've spoken to the current administration as if they were just like my little brother because I wanted this administration to succeed, as I would want any administration to succeed. When you're in politics, if the city of Birmingham loses, we all lose. So it's not to knock anyone. And I want to be clear. It's not to knock anyone. I am here running because we cannot go on like this. Birmingham is one step from being Gary, Indiana, after the steel mill went bust in the late 70s going into the 80s. Where right now, people gauge progress from what they see downtown Birmingham. Birmingham is bigger, as I said, than downtown, uptown, south side. Birmingham has 99 neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Right now, we have 4 police precincts. Most days, there are only 5 to 6 law enforcement officers working a shift at those precincts. My duty, if elected, is to ensure that we at least put the resources in place to do what we can to keep the people safe. Me going in, appointing a deputy chief or an assistant chief time and time again, and it's further eroding the department, is not helping. It's hurting the department because, the reputation now is so bad out there. The officers who left, they're spreading the word. They don't want to come back. And they have basically said to many people, they won't come back. Not under this administration. Our role is to save lives. And I know it's a bitter pill. And I know there will be people listening to me that will be upset. But I'm not lying about anything that I'm saying to you. I'm simply stating the facts. And at the end of the day, Birmingham must get new officers. But we also, we're going to pay them, which they receive a slightly better pay this time. But also, we need substations. This plan that they put together a few months ago, Birmingham just paid for a crime plan in 2021 that they did absolutely nothing with. So now, a few months ago, you come up with a crime plan after the Hush Lounge, after Hush, but you don't come up with a solution for a new crime plan after the 4 young men were killed on Center Street in February. That was a mass killing. Nor when the 4 were killed in North Birmingham. That was a mass killing. So at the end of the day, we didn't need another plan. This plan, that plan is no more than community policing 101. That plan has some, I think the Green Light Plan, that's a program, a crime prevention program. I know almost every crime prevention program in the United States of America, but I do not know one of them that has been successful without having the proper number of law enforcement officers to police. You cannot do it. That commission can meet every day of the week. But until Birmingham can get, because they are the ones that will enforce and partner with the citizens. That plan that was released simply is a package that has police, it should have police officers and retention and all that. Then you tie in the community piece, and then it has the community and supportive services. Again, I am an administrator. I've been so for a number of years. And so as a result, those are the things that I would do. I would sharpen up our police force by allowing them a buy-in. If the issue is every time you hire a chief, and mind you, this administration has had somewhere between 4 to 6 chiefs, even if they were interim, and probably about 20-something combined deputy chiefs and assistant chiefs. That's a whole lot in 8 years. So that lets you know that the system is broken. And the reason the system is broken is because that department, for whatever reason, I'm not sure, is run out of the mayor's office. And then there's always an attempt to create a different narrative to make the people believe that something is going on. So you get these pressers. But the reality is you're not telling the people the whole truth. So they buy into what they see on social media and these platforms, but there's an underlying story.
So I want to go into something I saw earlier. What's the update on the bill in the current session about the state bill by giving the governor the power to take over?
I'm not sure. It hasn't come to the House floor.
Okay.
I will tell you there is some interest in that. This administration is working real hard to block that. They actually literally have 2 people that have been sitting. Now listen now. 2 people that I am in the House of Representatives, and I called it out the other day, and I understand everything right now is how I move.
Okay.
What am I doing?
Okay.
Looking at my platform. Okay. Taking points from my platform and trying to enhance it. And I'm simply saying, listen, I'm very proud of my platform. And also, imitation is the highest form of flattery. And so these folks literally sit in the gallery now, and they sit there and they watch every move I make and they report back. And those could be individuals that could actually be up here doing something to help the citizens of Birmingham, number one. But they are moving these pieces of legislation through, I'm not sure where it will land. Representative Reed Ingram has that bill. We never should have gotten to that point. But there is a crime package for which I am very proud of. And I do want to say this to your listening audience, for those who wonder who I am. I am the one who went to the Speaker of the House, myself and several of my colleagues, Representative Patrick Sellers, Representative Hendricks, Representative Ontario Tillman. Listen, after the first mass killing, actually, I had actually really gone the year before, but certainly trying to give this administration an opportunity to do something about crime, I went and I said, listen, we can't go on like this. We've got to have a package of bills. We have got to roll these bills out. The day that we were rolling out the bills, however, I was not there. I had a hearing. So I didn't worry about which one I would select. I was good with that because all I wanted to do was keep the process rolling. So I went to the Speaker, and then the Speaker, after receiving so many calls from businesses that no longer want to do business in Birmingham. So it's not just affecting this city, it's affecting the state, because when you have individuals who want to come in, they're looking at those major cities that are around it. Well, what has started happening is major corporations from across the country, when they look up and they Google or their people are researching, all they see is Birmingham, second most deadliest city. New York news, World News and Reports, all of the social media, and so they see the headlines. And so as a result, we do have a crime package I'm pleased with. But I want to go back to one piece in the Glock bill because of something someone said to me the other day. And they asked me about the Glock bill and whether I thought that was going to stop. Listen, this is where you tell the people the truth. No, it will not stop. It will help. The Glock bill will help the way we have constructed it, because it will give police officers a little bit more of what they need to be able to stop those, at least those types of guns. There was a permitless carry law enacted a few years ago by the Republican Party. I have no control over that. As a Democrat, we are in a super minority. But that helps. But I want the people to understand, until we get a hold, until we stop the distributor, the black market seller of these guns and this weaponry, all of these guns that are out here on the street will not stop. The reason why I wanted to mention the Glock bill, because most of these young people who are killing, or when the ballistics comes back, these are illegal guns. These are guns that have been stolen. They've been stolen out of cars. They have been purchased in the black market. So I don't want to fool the people, because I don't want anyone thinking that now that there's a bill, all of the killing is going to stop, and that's not fair. You have to educate the people.
Well, I'm going to get back to the bodies on the street. Are you open to increasing the pay for new officers?
I'm open to increasing the pay, not only the pay. We need to pay our city employees more money. We find money for everything that we want to find money for. Birmingham needs to reinvest its money back into our departments, to build the morale of those departments, to build back better services. I have people, and I understand where they come from. They hate the call to City Hall. Because it starts with customer service 101. And sometimes the person who answers the phone is the first line of defense. But what people, I hear now, what I get back, the feedback, when you call, if you're trying to explain what you want, the person, whoever's they're speaking with, is telling you what you want. Because they're not listening to what you want. They're telling you what you want to avoid being able to further assist you, because that means they're going to have to do a little bit of work. Listen, the city of Birmingham has great employees, and it is a great place to work. I worked there, and it helped me curate my life. And I think we need to look at our employees differently. We need to give them more respect. I think that we need to do whatever we can do to boost the morale. But the city of Birmingham is going to have to engage more people to work for the city. There's no way around it. The trash service pickup now, the citizens' trash is picked up now once every 2 weeks, twice a month in a major urban city. And sometimes the rotation of the services is very confusing. So I think that there's a lot that we can do.
How would you stop illegal dumping?
Listen, you're not going to stop people from dumping, number one. I was wondering, you can fact check me, go back, you can Google me. For about 3-4 years, I was on this entire dumping thing. Okay. Listen, I had the media following me. Okay. People are going to dump. The problem is, even if somebody dumps, if somebody is there to pick it up, but Birmingham does not have enough employees. They do not have enough men and women, boots on the ground, working within the public works department. You can have a dumpster. How many people you think are going to actually go and dump? Mm-hmm. Listen, people in the Inslee community, there used to be the dumpster there. Now, I would go and dump there. Mm-hmm. They stopped it last year for some reason on some of the sites where people could go and dump on the sites. Mm-hmm. They cut that out. Mm-hmm. Well, you cut that out, and then all of a sudden now you want to do a dumpster after I start preaching about how filthy this city is. Fine. But you can have a dumpster, but what about cutting the grass? What about picking up the paper? Mm-hmm. What about cleaning off these lots? Listen, I saw the report that came out the other day. There's already legislation on the books. There's a catch-all exception in the code. Mm-hmm. A catch-all exception. And in that catch-all exception, Jarvis, it talks about, it allows municipalities, mm-hmm. but not counties, to be able to go onto lots. We didn't need a land bank for the city of Birmingham to be able to go onto the lot. All we needed to do was have somebody in that legal department to go a step further and find this piece of legislation like other cities, other municipalities mm-hmm. employ in order for us or for them to be able to do their jobs and do it more effectively. Excuses plus mistakes counts results. And this city has become a very excuse-driven city, all for the purpose of someone's social media platforms. But I want to say this because I'm not here to criticize. Okay. What I would simply say is this: at the end of the day, even with that act that I'm speaking of,
311.
No, it's always not the 311. I'm pulling the act now. I just want to make sure because I know people are listening. I want to pull that act, and I'll pull it up in just a second. But I want to give you that act. Because I'm concerned with what individuals that have become so excuse driven. There's no excuse to cleaning our neighborhoods. There's no excuse that the South Side, you can almost eat off the ground. But if you come right down here to 5th Avenue North, you see trash, litter, brush, and debris. There is no excuse that the city of Hoover is clean, Homewood is clean, Gardendale is clean. There is no excuse that Mountain Brook and Vestavia they're clean, but our city can't. Listen, the bare bone minimum that you can give people is a clean street. That's the bare bone minimum. Okay. But why are we not getting that? This system, and to sum up again, also why I'm running, I believe in a bifurcated system of government.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. So, are you open, or do you have the opinion that the Mayor Council Act needs to be changed, reversed?
Listen, the Mayor Council Act has nothing to do with a system of government that is bifurcated, that says there's an executive level, mm-hmm. there is a legislative level branch, and a judiciary. The problem the city of Birmingham has is, for some reason, these individuals on this city council have, for some reason, I don't understand it whatsoever, has allowed a system of government to exist where it is only one system, and that is an executive level. Several of them have said to me, Juandalynn, and this is what they have said. Okay. Well, people think that we don't try to impart wisdom or try to, help in the area of trying to speak with the administration. But it's only so far we can go without being iced out. So my comment to them was, when somebody tells me that they could be iced out, I'm saying to myself, listen, Councilor Gunn used to say it best, you got to learn how to count. I don't care how that Mayor Council Act is written right now. Okay. You still have to have 5 votes to pass anything. But the problem why they have not been able to get 5 votes is because, first of all, when this administration took over 8 years ago, there was nobody left with institutional knowledge.
Okay.
All of the leaders that were people with institutional knowledge were gone. You only had 2 people remaining on the city council.
Okay.
That was Valerie Abbott and Darryl O'Quinn, and that's the only time I will call names.
And William Parker too.
William left the last 4 years.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The last 4 years. Yeah. But at this point, throughout this process, if you notice, this council has not had a 5-vote voting block.
Okay.
For instance, there's a belief that whatever, if it comes out of this one department, they don't have their own lobbyists, they don't have their own legal counsel. Okay. That has never been the case.
Okay.
Because if that's the case, how do I treat the council? You're at the legislative branch. You should be treated, or you should be dealt with differently than what we deal with regards to the executive. Okay. It's almost the mirror image. So everything at the city the mirror image of it is one department, and that's the executive department, and that's never healthy for a city. And also what you're doing is, when you do that, you are almost creating such a dictatorial level of government that you have pulled and shifted all of the power to one department or one person to govern over the city. So when they say they may get iced out, I'm not the only person that they're saying that to. They've said it to people throughout the state of Alabama, and it's a terrible look for the city. I'm not afraid of being iced out. See, even when that meme was done of me, I said, listen, I like big pictures. Because first of all, I'm letting you know I'm not afraid of you. Okay. I'm not a child. I have thick skin. Okay. First of all, to do a meme of me didn't make sense. Okay. And then at the end of the week to say that there was an apology to the 99 because you've lost focus on the 1%. But I'm the 1% that gets things done. I'm the 1% that is the highest sponsored legislator of bills passed in the Alabama House of Representatives. For it, as much hell as I get a Republican, I have sponsored and passed more legislation. I am the one that stands when nobody else stands. I am the one that is willing to take whatever heat I need to take when I'm out here fighting for the people. I used to go out there and help walk and clean all of these streets, but I told the people a few months back, listen, at the end of the day, you all should be able to go to the mall and clean streets because there should be someone here to help you. So at the end of the day, I'm also that 1% that prayed with this administration, that always advised as well as said, listen, I would fight a fly at midnight for you.
So I'm glad you talk about streets. What would you do to improve the infrastructure, the roads?
Listen, first of all, I have my plan. It's on my website, givanformayor.com. Listen, the first thing I'm going to do is get these streets fixed. People are having to rotate their tires 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times a year. They're having to replace tires and buy rims. That can get to be very expensive, especially when you're on a fixed income. You already have a car note that's $500, $600, $700. So that's a lot. So you got to go in with a true resurfacing plan. When I was in Richard Arrington's office, that was a part of my responsibilities. I was an assistant liaison to planning, engineering, and permits. And so I do have a great level of experience in urban planning. The first thing I'm going to do, and that's a part of it, I'm going to sit down with the council members. Arrington was very good at that, and we're going to look at those streets. But our streets are so bad now. We're going to have to figure out a way to bring some more money in here from the Department of Transportation. If that requires a match, we will do a match on there. We're going to have to try to work with the state to figure that out. But we cannot go on any longer with our streets erode. Listen, the front of my fender on my car right now is damaged because it went in a pothole. Some of them you can avoid, but not all of them. But I'm going to figure out a way to get the necessary funding, and I'm going to make these streets a priority. The question for me with Birmingham is that we did a bond issue, and then the people re-upped on it a few years ago, and I know I cannot remember exactly what Birmingham's plan was. Each city and municipality had a plan, but our streets look a mess. And we've got to give attention, again, we've got to give attention to streets other than the ones on the south side. But guess what? To that end, even the ones on the south side are not as healthy as they used to be. And so that's critical also for the public safety of the people.
Well, y'all keep in mind, she's going to do it. Y'all understand that she's an attorney, so if you see her with the phone,
I'm trying to pull my facts.
Yeah, and that too.
I'm fact checking because y'all. So when y'all message, I'm gonna have the facts, and he'll be able to read the facts. So that's the only reason I'm doing this.
Well, two more things I want to talk about before we kind of wrap it up a little bit is you can't have population if you don't have houses. So what would you do to increase the population? I know that's a big, broad stroke of a question, but I'm speaking more in...
No, it's not. Listen, okay. Birmingham is better than where we are. There has not been, and I want the people to hear me, there has not been a major... I'm not talking about the houses, the lofts and apartments downtown. I'm talking about houses, housing communities. Okay. The last, I think, housing community that was built in the city of Birmingham was Oxmoor.
Okay.
And it was a phased development, but not all of that. I don't think all of it is right on the edge between, I think, Hoover and Birmingham. It's the cutoff. But that's the last real housing development. You cannot grow a city if you're not growing your communities. The communities are going to breed children. Children will breed parents who want to be viable parts within that community. But when you're not growing a city, Birmingham has not had any annexations. And right now, it may be very difficult to annex anybody because of the crime rate. But we can also, our schools have made great strides. I'm very proud of J.O. and Parker and Huffman High School. We're making great strides. We're still not quite where we need to be with the scores, but we're getting there with the different programs, the enhancements in our programs. I'm pushing the arts. We need to bring the performing arts and the vocationals back. More additional vocationals. For instance, the plumbing and the carpentry, which Huffman High School and J.O., they have some of the best premier carpentry within our city limits. Winona has an excellent culinary arts program. Those are the things that we need to really be highlighting about our school system. So we're working, and Dr. Sullivan is doing a good job. Yeah. He's come a long way in the last few years, but we've got to bring in housing. Listen, we can bring in affordable housing.
Okay.
Affordable housing is needed, but you are going to also have those individuals who do that are in the upper income brackets that may want to be in more of a market rate housing structure. So you're going to have to build these communities. Listen, we need to get with our black contractors. They are excellent builders here in the city of Birmingham. Let's get with our black contractors, those that build houses, those that know the business, those that may be interested in building communities, and let's put those incentives on the table. That's why you see Sherman Heights, the houses that are in Sherman Heights, because Alto Tarver was a black developer that the Mayor Arrington gave a chance. That's why that Ridge Park area of Oxmoor, he built many of those homes over there. He's gone on to be with the Lord a couple of years ago. God rest his soul. Excellent contractor. Charles Winston, excellent contractor. Listen, we have greatness in the city of Birmingham, and we need to hire within and work with those people that can help bring this city back together that are vested in Birmingham.
So would you enhance something like the land bank program?
I would enhance the land banking, but we can build houses in the city of Birmingham without land banking. We have so much area that is underdeveloped here. All we need to do is get with a contractor who has a vision to build these houses and roll it out and promote it and develop it. Listen, if it were not for a vision, we wouldn't have the summit. There were individuals who didn't even want to put the money on the table at that time, $5 or $10 million. Those people gave a return on their investment within 1 year. We can invest in our neighborhoods. There is not a belief in my mind that Birmingham cannot be better. Listen, the other thing is 8 years. I understand, and certain administrations ran on the premise that they would only run for 2 terms. For every great city in this country, and I mean the great cities in this country, Jarvis, am I lying? They have 2-term limits, 2 terms. Even if we had COVID, That's fine. We had COVID, but that still was within a term. You don't get a free pass because you were administrating during COVID. Listen, there's only so much growth that you can give to something. Okay. And Birmingham needs to grow, and it's not growing. It's unacceptable that when the shooting that took place on First Avenue, there was an interview done downtown Birmingham, in the areas that are highly populated by white folk, where nobody had gone over to the black community when Ray and Pookie and Keisha have been killed, or for the police chief and the public administrator.
Oh, what about the firefighter that was gunned down?
Jordan Melton, they finally acknowledged, and I'm glad you got into that, because I want to tell the people the truth. Listen, these individuals in leadership already knew that was the young man. The rollout of that interview came right after the administration had taken a blistering from 3340. They already knew. Danny Carr, our district attorney, was not at that presser because there was no need for him to be there, because they already knew. They could have already made that announcement. But there's, for some reason, a need to roll out these pressers when they're taking the heat for certain things, and it needs to stop, because that hurt this young man's mother, because they already knew this. They knew when they arrested him, and they put in work. But listen, Mark Petway wasn't there. He was the sheriff. His department did more work to advance that project or process alone of trying to get the intel on that. But he wasn't even recognized at the press conference because of this foolery that is going on out here, and the belief to fool the public that we're doing so much. Listen, the realization is that was the killer. It was verified. I knew 2 months ago this was the killer. Because I've stayed on top of it. Jordan was like a godson to me. I went to school with his mother. I spoke at his funeral. I love his mother. I know his father, Claude. I've known them since his Miles College days. I was one of his grandmothers, Miss Arthur Jean, Rochelle's mother. She was named after after Dr. Gaston. Listen, I've been knowing these people. I knew him before he was formed in his mother's womb. That's nothing to play with. Those are the kind of tricks that are being played, but the realization we don't have to do that. And again, I'm not calling anyone's name. I'm only stating facts that can be fact checked, so your listeners don't think that I'm lying. But I wanted to give you this code section, section 1145-1. Section 1145-1. Adoption and enforcement authorized. Municipal corporations may from time to time adopt ordinances, resolutions not inconsistent with the laws of the state to carry out into effect a discharge the powers and duties conferred by the applicable provisions of this title and any other applicable provisions. Listen to this. Of law, and provide for the safety, preserve the health, promote the prosperity, and improve the morals, order, comfort, and convenience of inhabitants of municipalities, and may enforce ordinances as such. A lot of municipalities literally go on these properties and cut the grass. They may tax them or send them a little bill. Sometimes that's up to them. But they go on if the community is going down so bad. And other communities and neighborhoods do that. There's no excuse for Birmingham. Birmingham's problem right now is they just don't have enough people. And I do not care who comes behind me. If you check the numbers, you'll see that. And so for me, I am running. I'm running because I have a vision for this city. I'm running because the magic is not here. It's lost its luster. I'm running because 1,000 and something people have died in this city over the past few years. I'm running because I cannot allow for these social media platforms to make people believe that this city is so progressive when it's not. This city is bigger than just one place. I'm running because of Birmingham Southern. Yes, I took issue with the president of Birmingham Southern on the last leg of trying to work through this process. I'm an open book. I shared my concerns, but I also shared the concerns also with the state treasurer. Although I had moved to have legislation passed the year before for the distressed institutions, There was no way the school was going to make it. And I support Miles College in their efforts, but I had a problem with Miles getting the school because I knew the true numbers. And had Miles gotten that school, and even if they go for it now, Miles, I said this to the treasurer just the other day, Young Boozer. He came up to me and he said to me, Representative Van, I'm so proud. He said, I was praying Miles did not get that campus. I said, yes, sir, I did too. I had my concerns because had they gotten it. And I said in 5 years they wouldn't be a school. He said, no, in 1 year. Well, Alabama A&M was in the conversation. But Alabama A&M had been blackballed by certain individuals for whatever reason because they were upset with the president, for which they have not communicated with that president for over a year, almost 2 years, having something to do with one of their initiatives. And so they blackballed the president. So for those from Alabama A&M who really want to know the truth, go to my website probably sometime after the day. We're going to speak about it a little more in depth. But that's why, and I started alluding to it a few months ago with regards to Alabama A&M getting that campus. Truly, it's not because they had such a high number. They were already blackballed by word of mouth because of the relationships. So it added to it. But that's, how it goes. People call it politics. No, it's not politics. That's a level of ignorance and immaturity.
Okay. Well, if people want to find out more about your campaign, where they go?
Givan, that's G-I, V as in Victor, A-N, for mayor.com. Go on there. I talk about what we need for our youth. We need these entrepreneur programs. We need to put these mom and pop stores, our black businesses, our women-owned businesses. We have all of these empty buildings around here. We need to put the incentives in place. We need departments that will work on that. We need to get our paint program back with the community. We had one of the best community development departments in the city. So all of that will be on there, and hopefully I'll come back, Jarvis, to talk about my vision. But just let me close with this. I'm running on the 3 Ps, as I mentioned, people, protection, and progress. I'm running on the 3 Rs. That is, I will reinvest, I will rejuvenate, and revitalize our communities. And of course, lastly, the 3 Cs for crime. You must control it, combat it, and conquer it. Our Clean Sweep program to get the city clean, our 122 project that will be to clean the city within the first 122 days, our Friends in Transition to deal with the homeless crises here in the Birmingham. And with regards to that, there is legislation already. We made homelessness a part of the definition of loitering last year. And so therefore, when individuals say that the police can't do anything, yes, they can, because it's now a Class C felony. Fact check me on that. But there are things that we can do. But all of my plans and my programs and hopes, my What About Us program, and lastly, it's on there because I want our children to be able to do something on Saturday other than I commend these mothers of gun violence where their children have died. But we should not see where our kids simply are only 8 and 12 years old having to take tourniquet courses for stopping the bleed. So I'm excited, and I'm excited to have been here. I was a little nervous and a little talkative.
No,
Jarvis,
thank you.
I wanted to give the tea as best I could, and this is the tea.
No, thank you for coming on. And I want to say this too. I'm doing something different this time, this go around. That the media has changed everybody. So I'm inviting every candidate, whether it's mayor or council, on my podcast. But I also inviting you all because I want to do a debate. So if I have a debate, would you be willing to come?
Listen, I'm ready to debate any day.
Okay. So I got one person down.
I did well in debates class, and I'm going to give the people the fact. And that's why I've said, Jarvis, fact check me. This isn't about friendship. This is about lives being saved. Fact check me. And listen, I'll close with this. Birmingham has tried everything in the world. They've tried old. They've tried young. They've tried gray. They've tried those that had no hair or ultimately had none when
they haven't tried a woman yet.
But you have not tried a woman, and I will say this. No one leads better than a woman. No one leads better than a woman. And listen, I'm going to do my best to hire women, and I'm going to have women at the head of this administration, and we're going to get this city clean And that is going to be priority number one. For me, is going to be sitting down with these neighborhood leaders, talking to these neighborhood leaders and our ministerial alliances. You cannot be in urban city and not be tied to the ministerial alliances in and around that city. I appreciate the opportunity. I was nervous, and we can get deeper in it. And listen, GivanForMayor.com. Y'all can call me, and we'll have numbers available and send messages. We are responding to messages, and this campaign is taking off, and people are getting excited.
You can get church fans too.
Got fans, listen, but people are getting excited, and these fans also have some of our platform, but we're adding to it every day because we're listening to the people, and we're going to be out working hard, Jarvis, for the people. This is about the people. The OJs had a song, got to give the people what they want. I know a lot of your listeners and viewers are younger, but
Okay.
Got to give the people. Give the people what they want, and we want to give them that. And I'm proud of our efforts, and we have a great team. We have male, female, black, white, old, young on our team. We are excited.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you all for watching this live. Those of you all know how I do interviews. I'm gonna slice them up and put some clips, put out in the next couple of days of this interview, because I know a lot of times people can't sit for the whole thing. But I wanted to get her unfiltered. This wasn't scripted.
No, it was.
She answered just by ear. I got more questions I need to ask. We'll have another time. But thank you all for watching.
It was, and I wanted to say it was not scripted at all. But listen, what I also wanted to say, as we move about, Jarvis, and this is what I'm saying. I would say this even if I were not running. I've been a paid political analyst before. As I said, I'm a political science major. I'm a student of politics, so I understand government. It's okay to have your choice. But what I've always said to people, listen, go on there. Don't drag the person. Invite the person. If you have a problem with me, invite me to a conversation before you drag the person that you are trying to engage with, and then we can come to a conclusion, and you can choose to believe what you want. But yeah, that's good. That's good democracy, and I believe in democracy.
Yeah. And I agree too. But thank you all for watching. I know you're probably like, "Why are you so good?" I think my battery about to go. We've been talking for so long, but thank you all for watching. Please check out what'shappenbirmingham.com for more interviews. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm on TikTok, and then for an audio version of this, it's on Apple Podcasts. Thank you all again. And Birmingham, most importantly, vote August 26th.
And I will close. Birmingham, it's time. Our theme is Birmingham, it's time. You're going to be seeing that all over the various platforms. Birmingham, it's time. I'm standing on business. Givan for Mayor 2025, August 26th.
All right. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast. Please check out our website, app, or subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest videos today.